Hi everyone, welcome to the video. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to sample some of these snares I have, kicks. I'm going to put them on my VHS tape and I'm going to sample them back in. So what I want to get out of it is to have my snares and my kicks with that tape saturation, making them sound a bit more dirty. That's what I want. I'm doing this also because I'm putting out a pack with drum loops and bass loops, and I want to use those snares and those kicks for the drum pack. So I want to add some saturation, some tape saturation on it. I want to make sure that I have something fresh to give to my patrons. I have a pack that has bass samples in it, bass chops. I'm using that to create the melodies. So I'm making these drum loops, and whenever I'm making drum loops I focus a lot on the hi-hats. So I shift the hi-hats a lot just to see if I can get a different groove, a different swing from those hi-hats. I normally divide my hi-hats into 2 pads, and then I like to shift them like that so don't snap. And just finding swings like that, shifting that one as well. So one of the cool ways to make beats, and I've shown this in the videos, is to just get the drums going and get a bass going as well, and then just searching for the samples in the browser. So that's what I did here, and this is one of the workflows I do sometimes. This is the point of this pack. I mean, you can chop the loops up, you can do whatever you want to the sound pack. But the way I'm putting it out there is for you to actually just grab that swing, grab that bass, and search samples to drop over these loops that I'm giving out. Anyway, now that I have a beat in some loop going, then just basically go through the chops while I'm listening to the drums. Then just loading the sample into the bank, and that's it. Okay, so this is a perfect example of a sample. Even if you pitch some samples up and down, they end up not working. You know, I get questions on how to tune samples together. Some people, they have a hard time doing it. Some samples don't work together, you know. So the only way to tune a sample together is to change the pitch of the sample. There's no other way of doing it. Some samples don't work together because they're on different scales. And if you want to put samples that are on different scales together, you're going to have a really hard time doing it. You might find a certain relation between the samples, but most of the times if they're on completely different scales, it's really hard to fit those together. So there's really no other way besides just changing the pitch. And if you've changed the pitch and it still doesn't work, my advice is just go to the next sample. And that's what I've been doing as well throughout the week. I've put out a pack of samples that I've blended together. In this case, I created a pack from a bunch of cuts. And this went to Patreon. Some are made from bass samples, others are made from guitar samples. You know, and this is up already. This is another thing I did during the week. People ask me during the week, and they sometimes ask, what do you do for mastering? What's on your outputs? So I use whatever is on the MPC, and I'm using now the channel strip. I'm using the MPC 60 plugin, sometimes, not always. I use the enhancer, and you have the maximizer as well sometimes. But the two that I use most of the time are the channel strip and the enhancer. I really like to use those two on the master output. So that's basically what I've been doing through the week, just creating chops, creating samples, creating drum loops, bass loops. I make sure that everyone at Patreon gets their samples of the day. Another cool thing happened. I sold a beat this week. I don't usually sell beats. I don't sell beats at all. But I'm not opposed to selling beats. If someone reaches and has the right attitude and has the money for it, I'll be happy to sell beats. But this guy was serious about it, and I liked the attitude, and I actually sold a beat. So that doesn't happen. Never. It really doesn't happen, because I'm not even into selling beats. So thank you, Felice, for buying that. And that's it. I have other things that are going to happen in the future. I'm putting out a new program, so I have a series of 7 videos coming out in the future. I'm just putting out ideas. I'm using the channel nowadays more as an entertainment channel. Also, you can pick out tips on how I make beats. It always helps. But I think all the tutorials about the MPC for beginners are already on the channel. So if you're a beginner and you want to know how to work with the MPC, I have tons of tutorials from the past. But you get to a point that you've talked about everything inside a machine. What else are you going to do? So I decided to start making all these different programs and see how people react to them. And it's more of an entertainment into music production kind of thing. So yeah, I have something ready for the future. If all goes well, I'll be putting it out in next month. It should be coming out. But that's it. That's what I've been doing through the week, just making chops and putting all this together. I don't know what's going to happen this coming week, but for sure, I'll be making beats, and I'll be seeing you on this Vinyl Wednesday next Wednesday. Okay, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are the best. Thank you for your support. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Take care.